Where Hawaii Eats is brought to you by the Honolulu Star Advertisers Dining Out, Outrigger Waikiki Hotels and Resorts, Cisco Hawaii, Stanford Car Development LLC, Hawaii Cancer Care, and JN Automotive Group. Welcome to Where Hawaii Eats. We're at the beautiful Kahala Hotel and Resort. Joining me today is the mayor, Rick Blangiardi. Rick, do I call you Mayor, Rick, King? How do you like to be referred to?
You can call me Rick as long as I don't have to call you Queen. But yeah.
Thank you for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here, Anne.
So out of all the restaurants that you could choose, you chose the Veranda. Can you tell me why?
Well, you know, when we discussed it, this is just a place that's had many wonderful memories for me, going way back to when I was a young guy, and I used to come here and listen to Denny Kalei sing on the beach, to taking my kids here when they were small for Fruit Loops so they could watch the dolphins, and over the years, countless dinners and various celebrations. It's just, it's a meaningful place. It's just really special.
Oh no, it's a beautiful place, and the food is amazing too. Speaking about the food,
yes,
Chef Jonathan Mizukami prepared some amazing options for us to try.
He has.
This one in particular is the Foie Gras Musubi. This is new to the menu. And
it's new to me.
It's new to me. I've never had this, and I think we're like the fourth people ever to try this.
Wow.
So let's try this. We got to try it.
I'm happy to do that. So
I guess we just grab it?
We just grab it.
Okay.
I think we will do that. I'm not sure if the chef will be enamored with us just grabbing it, but we're going to try that.
Okay, let's try.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a wow.
That is a wow.
That's extraordinary.
There's the ahi musubi that they have here on the menu, but this is similar, crispy rice, but the foie gras, the flavor is really good.
Incredible flavor. Yeah, I'm not just saying that, it's amazing.
That's good.
Yeah.
So tell me how you got to Hawaii.
Well, I got to Hawaii in 1965. My father was a machinist working at a place called the Watertown Arsenal in Boston, Mass. In Watertown, Massachusetts, actually. I was born and raised in Cambridge, Mass, and went to high school there. And I was actually attending a prep school for the Naval Academy at the time. In 1965, they closed the Watertown Arsenal because McNamara was Secretary of Defense under Lyndon Johnson. And so they were closing places in New England that President Kennedy had supported. Make a long story short, they offered my father a transfer because of his experience at one of two Navy yards, Newport News, Virginia, or Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. My mother, who was the youngest of 7 children, wanted to come to Hawaii, but not without me, her oldest son. And that changed my destiny.
How old were you at that time?
I was 18 years old.
You were 18 years old. You came to Hawaii.
Came to Hawaii by myself.
And then what did you do?
I went to the University of Hawaii and played football here, and played for a couple of years, and then had a family situation that caused me to leave, and Coach Price, who I played for at the time, understood the circumstances. It wasn't like I just quit. I had a pretty good playing career here, and went back east, graduated from Springfield College. I started coaching at the University of Connecticut. I spent my 20s as a college football coach. And I used to hear from Coach Price periodically. And in 1971, he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm at the University of Connecticut, about to go to graduate school, get my master's." He said, "Why don't you come back to Hawaii and coach with me, and I'll let you coach varsity linebackers." I just finished my master's degree in educational administration. And and it was not anything I had anticipated, but when that door opened, I just took it.
Wow. So you've come here twice.
Came here 3 times.
3 times. So the third time you made it your home.
It was my home from when I came in 1972 all the way through 1989. And my 3 children were born here. A lot of my life happened here. Because after I finished graduate school, they hired me full-time, and then I coached for 5 seasons. And then rather than leave Hawaii, I had a baby coming. We weren't making any money in those years. I was a #1 assistant coach, associate head coach, defensive coordinator with a master's degree, making $15,000 a year. Coach Price was making $25,000 a year.
Oh my gosh.
At a crossroads with a baby coming, decided not to leave Hawaii because I love the people, I love this place, and reinvented myself and took a job in television sales, of which I knew nothing about. I really kind of backed into something. I didn't have a game plan. I just knew at that time, CSFTEL told me that if I was willing to work really hard, which that's all I knew in those years, that in 3 years I could make $50,000 a year. And that was the first time anybody had ever talked to me about making money, because coaching was not about making money during those years.
This item here, this is caviar French fries. Have you ever had caviar French fries before?
No, I've never had caviar French fries, but then again, I've never had musubi, foie gras musubi. So this is a very special.
We have to try this. I think I'm going to use chopsticks.
Okay.
The foie gras, the caviar that they're using here is actually Thomas Keller's. He's a partner in it from French Laundry. So that's the caviar that is atop of this.
Wow.
So let's try this, because I'm excited to try it.
Yeah, honestly, this is the first. I've never had this.
Okay. We gotta use our fingers for French fries.
I'm good with that.
You can't use chopsticks for French fries. That's just not okay. Wow. I can see why you chose this for the Veranda. It's really good.
Well, I have to be honest. I wasn't expecting these kind of delicacies. This is incredible. I mean, 2 for 2. 2 things I've never had before are absolutely delicious.
We're going to pause for a quick break, and we'll be back, and we're going to learn more about Chef Jonathan's dishes and talk more with Mayor Rick Blangiardi. Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome back. The next item that we're going to try is called the wait a minute. It's called the
Anne Lee special.
the Buckwheat Waffle.
Oh, Buckwheat Waffle, yeah.
And it's something called a s'mores board, which translates to an open-faced sandwich.
Okay.
But I mean, there's some amazing things on this. We got to try this.
Ladies first.
May I serve you?
Yeah, thank you. I think we're about to go 3 for 3, Anne, because this is, again, something I've never had before. It looks incredible, and I'm sure it tastes just as good.
The presentation is amazing. Everything here is just like art.
Okay, I'm going to do this with my
You
hands.
There's no rules.
If it's a sandwich, I just feel like I should eat it with my hands.
There's no rules on how you want to eat.
Wow.
That's very good.
Very good.
Can I ask you?
You can ask me anything.
You created a huge opportunity for I guess television stations. What you created was pretty much no one else has done that here.
You talking about Hawaii News Now?
I'm talking about Hawaii News Now.
Yeah, Hawaii News Now. I'm really proud. It was my last chapter in broadcast. I spent 43 years from those humble beginnings of having left coaching at KGMB. And in 2008, the recession really hit this economy, hit our economy very hard. And the stations and all media, for that matter, really suffered as a result of businesses closing, lack of advertising. So out of that situation came an opportunity to merge 3 television stations, KGMB, KHNL, and K5, and create something for Hawaii that she had never seen before. And with the resources we had, because we were all on life support prior, we built the largest television newsroom in the state. We understood mobile technology to the extent we could in 2009, and then we decided to invest in that. That was everything behind Hawaii News Now, how we felt people would be looking to consume their news digitally, and we jumped on that, and we never looked back. And I'm very proud of what we were able to create. We actually had the vision to go from being on life support as a result of a very difficult recession to creating a 21st century multimedia company for Hawaii, full of really talented men and women. I'm so proud of that team and all that they've done, and we won all kinds of national awards. But it wasn't about that. It was about serving the people of Hawaii, but serving the people of Hawaii in a way that we knew was as good as anybody anywhere was getting in our delivery. So I'm very proud of that.
Oh, you did. You reached amazing accolades.
Well, it was a great team. And I always give credit to the team because a lot of people work very hard in that business. And I'm proud of all of them. I still am to this day and always will be.
So touching base on your heritage, you're Italian.
Italian, both sides, mother and father.
So, wow, you must have temper.
No.
The reason why
When I was younger, I had a temper.
So you've
I'm more refined over the years. Yeah.
So the reason why I touch base on that is that I grew up on the East Coast and I grew up with a lot of Italian families and a lot of my best friends are Italians. And you can see the local culture here in Hawaii is very similar to Italians.
Yes.
Celebrations,
Right.
food,
Family. Absolutely. Yes. All of that. I think, when I moved to Hawaii, it seemed so exotic and so different because I grew up in a neighborhood. I grew up in a bilingual household. We went to Florida once. I knew no one who went to California, much less Hawaii. So for me to make that trek out here in 1965 was not anything I'd ever anticipated, and everything seemed so different, yet it felt so similar because of precisely what you said. And so for me, my assimilation into Hawaii has always felt very natural. And so, my 3 kids were born here. I wasn't born here, but I've always felt like I was from here. And I'm very proud and very blessed to have lived my life here.
I think Hawaii chooses you. You can't choose Hawaii.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, I've always felt like I got invited to a very special party. That I was a very special guest to be able to come here and live here and be able to do the things I've done in this incredible setting with its incredible people.
So all these years that you lived in Hawaii, there had
Yes.
to be some great restaurants that you've been to through the years. Maybe some are not here anymore that you can tell us about.
Well, I still go back to, there weren't a whole lot of Italian restaurants here, but when Stan Scherf was alive, he and I spent a lot of time up at Paisano's in the Manoa Marketplace. That was just a place of lots of interesting long meals and food. We actually spent time here over at the and doing different things. I can tell you that the whole Stan Scherf Center on a napkin was designed at the bar right here at this hotel.
Is that right?
And we talked about that before it was ever broke ground on it. So the Kahala has always been special. I've always liked it. But over the years, there's just been restaurants like you've said that have come and gone. Maybe not such an illustrious fare, but I always loved Leaky Drive-In. And even before then, Kuio Grill in Mo'iliili was when I was coaching. That was like going out. If we had a tuna fish sandwich and crackers there, that was a big deal. Hawaii, part of lifestyle here is not unlike you said back east. It's about food, how food is served, the things that take place over a meal. They kind of define our relationships and who we are, and this has been a real part of my life. But I think some of the best food has really been at people's homes, in their backyard, and things like that. Those have been probably the most powerful memories of eating and sharing and developing friendships here.
So that's interesting because every time that you mention a restaurant that you like, there was some kind of significant memory that you were able to remember.
That's the Italian in me. I'm a sentimental guy. And but that's just how you look at it. I mean, as I said earlier, I grew up around food. My folks didn't have much money. I grew up in a tenement house, but everybody was always proud that we had clean clothes and lots of great food. And so, a big Italian family, and food was the center of everything.
We're going to pause for a quick break, and when we return, we'll talk more with Mayor Rick Blangiardi and eat some more of this delicious food. Welcome back. We're with Mayor Rick Blangiardi, and we're at the Kahala at the Veranda and eating this amazing food.
Yes.
Things that you and I both haven't tried before.
So far, 3 for 3, and I think it's about to be 4 for 4.
4 for 4. This is a salmon flatbread.
Have not had that.
We got to try it.
The only way to eat salmon, I guess. Sure. Ladies first. Thank you.
Okay. And there's like a creme fraiche on this with some
It looks delicious.
local herbs.
Wow.
You can't go wrong here.
Wow. Kudos. to
He's
the
so
chef.
talented, very
Incredible.
talented. Do you want to describe the texture of this?
Well, anything that's pizza related has got a great texture. But the flavor here, some caviar and salmon on it, is extraordinary with, I guess, the creme fraiche. It's from a sensory standpoint, it's incredible.
It's like bagel and lox somewhat.
Yeah, a little bit of that.
Okay,
Maybe a little bit
yeah.
about that. Yeah, on the second bite, I would say that. Yeah.
The restaurant community has been really affected by the pandemic, and I know that you've been a big advocate to support local restaurants, local business.
Yes.
Is there anything in place that will protect the restaurant community from shutting down in the future from a pandemic? Or
Well, let's frame the restaurant business, if you will, statewide for Hawaii, because it's a very sophisticated business. It represents $6.5 billion in revenue to our state's economy. That's about 19% of our overall economy. It employs more than 100,000 people, 102,000 people. And we've lost 40% of our restaurants have closed. Now, some intend to reopen, some may never. Perhaps other people will come along. But the restaurant business, aside from being such an important part of our economy and our economic recovery, is also a way of life. The very essence of what we're doing today and in your shows. And it's just such an important part of our quality of life. And those experiences are not just relegated to tourists, to all of us who live here. The economics are one part of it, and the other part of it is how we get to live our lives. So I want to be as supportive as we possibly can to have our restaurants open, to have our bars open, and we work with the Department of Health, as aggressively as we can be, and we're all trying to get back to a place where we once were.
Well said. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Last but not least, we have the truffle deviled eggs.
Wow.
So the way that Chef Jonathan explained this is that this is something that the menu on French Laundry, this is something that they have on the menu. So he was there for 10 years. So he wanted to bring a little bit of that to the menu here. So I'm dying to try it.
Yes, I've never been to the French Laundry. I once lived in San Francisco in the Bay Area for several years. I never got there, so this is really special.
This is the closest we're going to get to there right now.
Yeah.
Let's try this.
Okay.
Look how beautiful it is, though.
Yeah.
Look at,
Too pretty to eat.
right?
Well, at the risk of sounding cliche, that is definitely 5 for 5. Incredible.
Everything.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
So good. So I got to ask you this.
Go ahead.
And I don't know if you're going to answer it or not.
You haven't been shy so far.
So why did you want to be mayor?
Well, I've been asked that a lot, and it always comes back to what my feelings were at the time of making the decision, which was a sense of love of place, a sense of responsibility, looking at the landscape. This was all pre-COVID, but we had big issues then, and I had known, through my work in the community, and certainly I work at Hawaii News Now, and the lens, if you will, of a newsroom and the stories we covered. I was very aware of what we were facing with respect to homelessness, the rail issue, all that brings with it, affordable housing, elder care, safety, infrastructure. I mean, all of those issues. And quite honestly, I was 73. I didn't want to stay at the dance too long at Hawaii News Now, and I really wanted to do something afterwards that would really matter. I had not envisioned that. And I actually made the decision on what would have been my mother's 100th birthday, out of respect for her.
Wow.
And I thought, if my mother was alive today, and I was able to ask her, what do you think I should do? She would have said, do this. And so in her spirit and her name, as I said earlier today, she was the reason why I came to Hawaii to begin with. I decided to go for it, and lo and behold, after a very difficult campaign, we were able to survive and win. We won decisively. I feel a real sense of mandate from the people of Oahu to make sure our team, myself, that we do what we're supposed to do.
Wow. That's, again, well said.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
What's next on the horizon?
For me, well, we're 4 months into the job, and I think we've spent enough time now orienting ourselves. We've got some stuff done. This job is about execution. It's an operational job. It's what brought me to it. And I'm really proud of the team, the men and women we've brought in. We've, for the first time ever, had a tremendous change more than 40 people between our cabinet positions, our directors and their deputy directors whom they hired, along with some other situations that we have with people. I want to see how this team executes, and so that's what it's about. We're just focused on the problems, and we know we have a lot of them, and not the least of which has been COVID and how it's overshadowed our economy. So the rebuild of our economy, our ability to take federal monies as we begin to get appropriated, distribute those monies because that's what people need, and anything and everything else we can do to kind of restore a sense of vitality and energy. And if I could just say this, I walked into this job with unprecedented fear and uncertainty. Our role right now is to try to create some hope, and if by the time we're all said and done, we can leave people feeling confident, then this journey will have been worth it every step of the way.
Well, word on the street is that you're doing an okay job so far.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing the show. I'm honored that you agreed to be on the show and sharing all of your, I guess, your vision and your intention and your honesty.
Hopefully a little bit of my manal too, my love of this place, my feeling for it.
You can tell. You epitomize Hawaii. Thank you so much for watching the show. For more information about the Veranda, you can check out their website or their social media handles. Thank you again, Mayor Rick Blangiardi.
I love being on the show with you, Anne. Thank you. It was a real privilege. I really appreciate it.
Thank you again. Cheers to you.
Mahalo. Thank you to you.
Where Hawaii Eats was brought to you by the Honolulu Star Advertisers Dining Out, Outrigger Waikiki Hotels and Resorts, Cisco Hawaii, Stanford Car Development LLC, Hawaii Cancer Care, and JN Automotive Group.